want to thank you for checking out another podcast of We Ain't Scared Talk, where we ain't scared. My name is A1, and I want to say thank you to all the listeners that have checked out the last few podcasts. The feedback has been really good. I've been getting text messages, emails, and some phone calls. So it's encouraging to know that there are people that are out there listening and they care about the subject matter like I do, even if we don't agree, right? And that's important because some of the feedback is not always, oh, I totally agree with what you said and I believe everything that you're talking about, and then that's okay, right? We don't have to agree. We just need to understand where each person, I should say, is coming from. I think that's kind of lost in a lot of the discourse today. Social media has really helped to create a lot of keyboard gangsters. Just people that just shout and attack and don't really have any real intention of getting a real true understanding. So I'm not going to belabor that. You can follow us on IG. We Ain't Scared Talk. That is up now. We're obviously on YouTube, so you can subscribe. So please subscribe. These podcasts, these episodes drop every Saturday. And again, I appreciate you guys for taking the time to listen. So today, this podcast it's been a long time coming. And it's sad that this particular topic has never gone away. Like it is so relevant today, which is scary, and something has to be done about it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and jump in here. Now we all know about police brutality, right? It's horrific. It completely leaves devastating effects on the black community, inside of the black community. It's terrible, but we don't really take the time, in my opinion, to talk about black cops, right? And their involvement. So today's topic is, do black cops enable police brutality? Do black cops enable police brutality? Now, I have some notes, and also I pulled up a website on my phone, so I'll be kind of bouncing back and forth between the two. But personally, I hate the idea of black men being cops. Go figure, right? I'm sure nobody ever expected me to say that. But especially since the police got their start as, most of us know, slave patrols, right? They were sent out to catch runaway slaves. Now, it's hard for me to reconcile in my mind that black men can legitimately do any good for black people while wearing a badge of any kind, right? Sheriff, state police, local police, what have you. Now, we've all heard the argument or justification by black men that are actually in law enforcement or thinking about it. What they claim is that, well, how can we change anything if we're not working on the inside, right? Sounds really good. And to most observers, right, it makes sense. But in reality, that's not the case. So while you have a right to believe that, I disagree. And let's be honest. My question is, tell me what specific steps, Mr. Black police officer, who's trying to change things from the inside, have you taken to address or put a stop to police brutality? Now, there's probably not very many precincts or police departments in this country that does not have or has not had its run-in with police brutality. And I'm certain there's some black officers there that have witnessed it or been around the white officer that got himself involved in police brutality. Because to me, it just seems like you're just earning a check. and hiding behind the fact that you're really working to make a difference. Now, if that's what you want to do with your life, that's fine, but just say that, right? Don't make up these reasons why and make it sound like, oh no, I'm really here to make a difference and change my community. Please, please. I cannot recall one news conference, email, or video showing a black police officer publicly denouncing police brutality at any time, anywhere in America. As a matter of fact, I've seen the exact opposite. I've seen black police officers engage in the same animalistic brutality or abuse. It has long been viewed that black police officers will do what their white counterparts do so they can be perceived as part of the crew, right? It's a gang mentality. Law enforcement has never been a friend to the black community. So it boggles my mind. And I don't care how many black police chiefs you put on, you give that position to. Makes no difference. Matter of fact, I think it makes it worse, right? So again, it boggles my mind that black men would even have an attraction to this field of work. It just feels like self-hate. I mean, seriously, there has never been a time in modern history where police officers have ever positively interacted with the black community, right? So my question is, what is going on in the minds of these black men and women that make them dismiss or completely forget this fact? You know you're a part of an organization that engages in police brutality, but yet you stay on the sidelines, and meaning not addressing it. Law enforcement, by its very nature, is racist and murderous toward black people. We have videotape murders after videotape murders after videotape murders by law enforcement. Just unarmed black person, hands up, don't shoot, and then they just unload and blow these black men and women's heads off. And my question again, why would a black man in particular want to join this fraternity of murder, and of unarmed black men and women? Right? Mike Brown. Oh, God, that murder. Okay, let me not get distracted. But this is important. Freddie Gray, right? That Freddie Gray murder by the Baltimore Police Department, it was extremely disturbing to me because it had a mixture of both black and white officers that took part in his murder. Yes, the officers were acquitted, but we all saw the autopsy report, or most of us, and it read that Freddie's spine was severed, okay, while riding in the back of the police van. They called it, he got a rough ride. And the fact that this happened while black men and women, female officers, black men and women, cops, is beyond disturbing. And, I'm going to take a little sidebar here, and I'm going to come back. There's something that recently happened in New York. An officer received $5.4 million, right? Because he got roughed up, beaten by his own boys in blue, his own brothers, right? Now listen to this. It's an NYPD officer who was originally awarded $15 million after other cops beat him up while he was off duty, right? This happened in 2016. Larry Jackson, right? That's what the court originally, the jury originally awarded him, $15 million, right? And $12.5 million in compensatory damages of that $15 million and $2.6 in punitive. So that whole 12.5 in compensatory and $2.6 in punitive, right? For his injuries. Cops roughed him up while he was responding to a 911 call at his daughter's 21st birthday party. But the department here we go, right? Protested that the compensation was too high. So the damage, the price tag associated with your brutality, they're, oh no, it's too high, it's too much. And Judge Pamela Chen agreed, recommending that the compensatory damages be cut down to $2.7 million. So this man lost over $12 million. 13, I should say. Now she kept the punitive damages the same. And that's why we arrived at the $5.4 million. Now listen to this. The plaintiff was the victim of an unjustified and brutal beating at the hands of his fellow officers in the presence of his extended family and friends. They beat him up in front of his family. He was punched, struck, choked with a baton, and pepper sprayed in the eyes when he was already subdued. Undeniable trauma, scarred him both physically and emotionally for life. Think about that. But you black men want to serve your community. You're not serving the community. You're serving an organization that is hateful. Black men that choose to go into law enforcement, in my opinion, have no real desire to change the wrongs that are done to the black community. They're just making it worse by their presence. Because if this white man or non-black person is standing next to you, assaulting someone unnecessarily, and you see it, and you don't do anything to stop it, then you are equally guilty. You're a co-conspirator. You're a contributing factor. Just because you don't lift your hands to try to stop it and you don't raise your voice, you're still complicit. Just like with bank robbery or any crime, if someone else is there with you in the car, even though they didn't get out, guess what? They're gonna suffer the same side effects as you if you're caught. Now, I will give room that some may really feel like they're making a difference, right? But how are you measuring that difference, right? How are you measuring? Seriously, I really want to know, how are you determining that you're making a difference? To me, black men in law enforcement is an extension of the house Negro mentality. You get inside and you think you'll be treated better or differently, even after we have stories, as I just read, right, being beaten by their own cops in blue. And this happens frequently, right? And what disturbs me is these black men go back to work with these same cops that shot or beat them, these undercover cops. They go back to work side by side with these people the next day or the next week or in a few months. What is wrong? It is absurd. And now, look, again, this is my opinion. You don't have to agree. That's okay. But joining the enemy won't make the enemy respect you. Okay? If you're in a war and you decide to go jump on the opposite side to try to reason with the enemy, that's not going to make them respect you. They're going to shoot you. Right? So, or I say, oh, well, maybe I'll just join the KKK. And that way I'll change the KK, the views of how they treat black people from the inside out. Really? Where they do that at? Trust me. Come on, man. Law enforcement treats black people the exact same as the KKK. And we all know that they've infiltrated law enforcement, right? So in that analogy, the black cops might as well just put on the hoods and go to work because they're not helping anything. Again, it's a relatively free country for some of us, and you have the right to earn a paycheck however you want. But if you do it in law enforcement, for me anyway, you're simply adding and you're enabling police brutality in the black community, unless you can legitimately show me what steps you've taken to speak out against it, right? I haven't seen any black cops support Colin Kaepernick. None. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not out there. Maybe they are, but I haven't seen anything. right? His right to peacefully protest police brutality, right? What is that about? Seriously. Black cops can't even support another black man's right to peacefully protest. To peacefully protest. You can't even support that. So for me, I lump the black cops in the same category as the white cops. Thus the whole blue lives, right? They're not my friend, and they don't mean me any good. I don't care how much they smile when they see me or you. Because if they have to choose between blue or black, they're going to choose blue. I can't support that, right? And I never will. Some black cops may even be saying, well, I've never harmed a black citizen in any way while wearing the badge. You're harming them by wearing the badge, right? That's harming them. It's a reminder, just looking at it, right? To me, it's the equivalent of if a black person were going somewhere and someone hung a noose, right? As a way of intimidation. That's what it reminds me of. But at this point, I feel like all black cops, whether you're male or female, you need to just walk away, leave the job. Now, is that going to happen? Of course not, right? But it should, because that organization is not good to black people. I mean, the organization that you belong to, they pull triggers on black people while you remain silent. Therefore, in my opinion, as I said earlier, you are a quiet accomplice, plain and simple. So, black people, don't go into law enforcement. Start a business, work at a post office, but don't go into law enforcement, okay? You'll become silenced and ineffective, as has been proven, by no black officers speaking out against police brutality. It's just that simple. Now, you can try, again, justify it any way you want, but law enforcement is not our friend as black people. It is not. Protect and serve. Right. Anyway, all right. Well, I want to thank you again for checking out another podcast of We Ain't Scared Talk. You got some good food for thought. My name is A1, and we ain't scared.